Question of election administration influence on the election results. I have observed elections in Ukraine since years. We have noticed that some kind of strange activities at the very bottom level of election administration took place. All of these activities are mostly connected with the sharings of precinct election commission members among the major parties and technical parties. So we decided just to find what kind of causes could be in the basic of these activities and what could be the potential result of these activities on the election outcomes. So our expectations were that actually in Ukraine, political parties, like major political parties and minor political parties who stands for elections, has the right to fill election commissions, district election commissions and precinct election commissions with their staffs. And actually, if the process is objective, there should be no relations between the amount of people affiliated with those or that parties and the results for that parties or that for major parties. For the analysis, actually, we identified bureaucratic technical parties through the personal sharing. We identified bureaucratic technical parties as those who has actually has no chances to win any seats, and they could even hardly get a couple of votes during the elections, but actually they were standing for elections, so what was the reason? And we have identified them that main satellites for the major parties, whose main role was just to back up these parties in the election administration system, to give them some benefits on the majorities of this election commissions. Also, we classified bureaucratic technical parties for actually major political parties at the elections of 2012 in Ukraine. It was like last parliamentary elections. The main pro-government party was Party of Regions, and the main oppositional party was MPSA party. Done all that, we have assessed how variation in electoral commission staffing is associated with the variation in electoral results, and we were just moving with that. Just a quick look through the administration election system in Ukraine. It consists of 3 levels. On the very top of the pyramid, there is a central managing body called Central Electoral Commission. On the mid-level, there are 225 district election commissions, and on the very bottom level, there are more than 33,500 precinct election commissions. It is worth mentioning that all of these commissions, DECs and PECs, according to the Ukrainian law, they are formed with the help of the procedure of lottery. And it's like, it was a huge question, disputable question on the last parliamentary election. I will not go very in detail through that, but if somebody would be interested, you could just look through the paper or just ask us in the session with the questions and answers. So in the analysis, we identified all major, main bureaucratic technical parties for major parties, as I said, Batkivshina and Party of Regions. About the figures and data set, we were working initially with the data consists of 2 lists. We had input and output lists of all PC members in Ukrainian elections of 2012, and in this initial list, the initial and final list, there are some personal characteristics of every PC member, and these characteristics were party affiliation, number of precinct election commission, and the position that the exact precinct election commission member hold in the commission. So it was the way we defined bureaucratic technical parties. We just were compared. We were comparing the same people who were in the initial list were from one parties, and in the final list they were in different parties. And we did it actually for all the parties in the elections. There were more than 80 parties in that, but we just concentrate our attention on all these sharings between 2 major parties and their technical parties. So here it's a graph for Party of Regions faction. It was like a major party, and here on the graph we do have 3 circles. In the inner circle we have the amount of PC members who were donated from Party of Regions to its technical parties. In the middle circle, we do have the reverse movements from the technical parties to Party of Regions, and the outer ring shows us the sum of these figures. So, for instance, let's take Party of Pensioners. 123 members were donated from Party of Regions faction to this party. 70 members from this party gone to Party of Regions factions, and the sum was 193 PSC members in total. Actually, I should say that also we have here the graph for the Batьківщина. We have like 5 major parties for Batьківщина and 14 for Party of Regions, and we defined bureaucratic technical parties as the main for these major parties, as these parties had the interactions and sharings between these parties and the major parties was one standard deviation above the mean with the patron parties of these technical parties. And actually the situation is the same. The Batьківщина has less technical parties. It could be explained in different ways because it was like a oppositional party, and it had not so many resources and cadres and just etc. Also a couple of maps. Here you see the distribution of officers around Ukraine that represents affiliated with major parties and their main technical parties. This graph demonstrates that the represented officers of the commissions were distributed around Ukraine for Party of Regions, and with some kind of concentrations in Crimea, western parts, and central Ukraine. For the Batьківщина, we see that there was not so many spots of concentration, but still it's distributed all around Ukraine. So the results have coded political parties as technical and major, have defined main technical political parties for major ones, and coded all the affiliations of party officers. We put all this to the regression, and actually here are the just predicted results for Party of Region in the stronghold in eastern parts of Ukraine, and the predicted result for the Party of Regions when all the indicators would set on their means with the variations of party personal affiliations in the PSC levels would be 61%. But if we would look here, we would see that in case of presence in PSC commissions, affiliated members of Party of Regions, like officers and technical party officers, and in case of when all the officers in the commission were from technical parties of Party of Regions, the results are 2% higher for Party of Regions. In case of Batьківщина, we have same results, but the volume of them is not so high, just 1%, but still. Actually, in conclusion, I could say that we could say that personnel in the PSC level matters. Sharings among minor parties and major parties also matters. And thanks to the very liberal thresholds in the Ukrainian legislative system for parties to stand for elections, major party are just using all these opportunities to stack the commissions and the very bottom level, I mean PSCs, with their additional members to control majorities in these commissions, and actually to control also the officers of these commissions to benefit themselves, and as research shows, they benefit in sense of election results. Just to demonstrate the quick example how it works on the very ground when we're observing elections, we have noticed that in some cases political PSC members who were representatives of some major parties and their affiliated bureaucratic technical parties had right to invalidate or validate ballots in case if in the ballot was more than one mark. For instance, if in the ballot there was just mark for one appropriate candidate, and then the voter just put some kind of notes on the ballot, it's up to PSC commission decision to validate it or not. And inside the cases, if the mark was for the candidate represented in the commission by the majority of the PSC members, this ballot was validated, and if the candidate was from opposition, it was invalidated. So it's like a root grass example how it works on the very ground, and according to the news information and reports from international organizations of observation, it took place not just in a couple of times, so it's just one way it could work in Ukraine. Appreciate your attention. If you have any questions, would like to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you.